Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Breguet Type 20 Aeronavale, reference 3800 in stainless steel. You can see this modern revival of a classic aviator's chronograph and buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Breguet Type 3800 in steel. Now, it's important to remember that the essential design of the Type 20 stemmed from a 1954 French military aviation contract. Several, including Dodin, Oricoste, Breguet, and others, produced the original watch, which was named after the series of the contract, Series Type 20. However, it was Breguet that stuck with the type and maintained service both of parts, maintenance, and timepieces to the French Air Force and the French Aeronavale marine aviation into the 1970s. The watches themselves remained in service often into the 1980s, but by that point, Breguet had become a very different type of company, resurrected in the 1970s by the Parisian Chaumet brothers, a jewelry empire. During the 1980s, the company got back on its feet using the design talents of Daniel Roth and even Jörg Heisek to revitalize the look of the watch for the modern era. The look of the Breguet watch began to take form. One watch whose design was more or less set in stone, however, even through the fall of the Chaumet brothers and the acquisition by Middle Eastern Investcorp, was the Type 20, a classic waiting to burst forth from the reborn Breguet during the 90s. This happened in 1994 with the advent of the Type 3800 Aeronavale that you see here. Now, this was a comeback watch for Breguet. Although Investcorp wasn't remembered as a great owner of the brand, the revival of the Type 20 was their one unarguable triumph, a stroke of genius. It's a 39.5 millimeter watch that wears classically sized on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and you can see my wrist wears it well, such that even if it were smaller, I would be able to wear this watch. My wrist could be as small as, in my estimation, 13.5 centimeters in circumference, and I would still be able to accommodate this watch's 45.4 millimeter lug-to-lug span and short, tightly downturned lugs. The watch is fairly thick at 14.8 millimeters, but with a dramatically domed sapphire and conical bezel, it will slide underneath most dress cuffs and formal sleeves. And of course, the watch being 39.5 millimeters across the round of the case, that does not include chronograph pushers or the screw-in crown. But you can see that the strap is unconstrained, though it is remarkably bolstered, thick, and meaty. You can pull it straight down around a smaller wrist. Substantial with a folded edge and a monotone stitch, it's dark black and tapered, on the underside a very supple calfskin, and the watch comes with an impressively deluxe stainless steel folding clasp. The tolerances of this one are excellent. It actually snaps open and closed, suggesting minimal refinishing over time. A very meaty component for a watch that, frankly, isn't that big. Nevertheless, you get the counterbalancing effect of the clasp underneath, such that if you wear it light, it's not going to tip over. If you like to wear your watch light and loose, it's not going to move around thanks to the counterbalance of that big clasp. The case looks like a Breguet sports watch. You would imagine that it would be this finely finished and detailed, with a coined flank, beautifully tapered and polished lugs that are almost poetically shaped. For a sports watch, this is unconventional, but for a Breguet, it's almost expected. Now, the bezel is conical and beautifully polished. All of the numerals and the dot indices are rendered in lacquer. It still has its luminescent pearl at 60. What surprised me is that it's not an aviator-style bezel. It's actually a unidirectional dive style, meaning you can time two events concurrently. So line up the index with the minute hand. Now you can time something between 0 and 60 minutes, even as you run the chronograph. Now you can see this is the Aeronavale. It is the 3800, not the late 90s 3820. The 3820 had a date. This is the pure aesthetic as pioneered by the original Type 20. And you can see the beautiful mid-20th century font of the Arabic numerals, the calibrations, the semi-syringe style hands, and the leaf hand for chrono minutes at 3 o'clock. You'll also note when you turn it over, it's more water resistant than you may have suspected. Just as the dive style bezel comes as a surprise, so too does the 200-meter water resistance rating, though with a screwed-in caseback and crown and robust construction, it should not shock. It's an easy watch to wear on any wrist, and on a NATO strap or a rubber caliber water-resistant band. This is a watch that would be easy to wear almost anywhere. Boardwalk or boardroom. Bathing suit or business suit, I always like to say. Inside is an automatic caliber 582. It's called 582 in Breguet service. It's really essentially a Lamagna 1350 automatic winding, 48-hour power reserve, very tough. It has a precise and rewarding action, though cam or shuttle operated. Nevertheless, it is crisp and it has a positive action through start, stop, and reset. Of course, surrounded by this substantial case and substantial seals, it's well protected, so you have a tough movement inside a tough case that really becomes the heritage of the Berguet Type 20. Born as a military implement, it remains physically imposing and technically accomplished. Rugged and versatile, you can see this one and you can own it on our website.